Hey pilots, Drain Man here, and today I have a very special video. Today we are going to check out this all new Larva X HD by Happy model. I hope you guys are ready. Okay pilots, so the Larva X by Happy model is actually not a new toothpick or quadcopter, micro, whatever you'd like to call it. I'm going to have to say it falls into the toothpick class, but this is not a new quadcopter. They've actually had one before, and now this is a brand new version. This is called the HD. So it'd be the Happy model Larva X HD. And the reason why is because it comes with a Caddx Baby Turtle, which is an HD camera. So you put an SD card in on here, you've got a button in the back, and now you've got HD footage. I do want to go over what it comes with real quick, just in case you're curious about getting this one. Then we'll roll through the specs, and then we'll take this thing to the sky. So what do you get? Well, you get your quadcopter, and in here you actually get a receiver. It comes with a receiver, but you get to choose. And when you choose your receiver, you're going to base it off of what radio you have, whether you have a Frsky, Fly Sky, or if you're running Crossfire or something along those lines, you actually get to choose. This is one of the first ones that I can remember or that I can think of that actually give you the option to get a Crossfire in it, ready to go, already wired up. And here's the cool part. I have an Frsky Tyrannus and I've got a Crossfire module in it. Whenever I get a little ready to fly or they send me one of these guys to review for you guys, I always got to take the Frsky version. So I get an RXSR or an XM, and when I fly over 100 feet, I'm starting to get signal breakup, I'm getting latency, and then my radio starts yelling at me. So I'm really excited that this came with a Crossfire and that they gave me that option. Here's the cool part. If you get this with an RXSR, it's $189.99. Well, if you pick a Crossfire, which is actually $10 more, you still get it for $189.99. So I almost feel like I got 10 bucks for free. So I'm pretty excited about that. If you're flying Fly Sky or you don't want telemetry, you want to roll more with like a XM or XM Plus, you can actually get this guy down to like 165 bucks. So it is an expensive little toothpick. But what does it come with? Well, you get the quadcopter. It's ready to go. Props are on it. I believe all I got to do is bind and literally take off. We're going to look more into that here in a minute. You get a extra canopy, and this is the canopy that you would run if you wanted to turn it into a whoop. Wait a minute. Are you telling me I can turn this 3-inch propped toothpick that takes 2 to 3S lipos and put prop guards on it and actually make it a whoop? Yes, that is what I'm telling you, and that's what it can do, and that is actually really awesome. So here's those right there. You get those. I think that's a super cool feature, because what if I'm a new pilot and I'm having a hard time staying up or I'm constantly running into stuff? You can save those props and put this guy on. I don't know how much of the flight characteristics are going to change by having this on. I'm noticing a bunch of screw holes here, and there's one here, and you got to mount them. Let me show you. You've got to actually mount the bottom of the prop guard here, and then there's a screw hole right here, if you can see that. That is where this is going to go. So I can imagine that's going to be a pain in the neck to do. All right, you get 2 batteries. You got one here, one there. And these are decent batteries. These are Tattoo, one of my favorite aside from the Bosch batteries. These are Tattoo 450s. These are pretty good batteries. I don't know how much they cost, but they're included in the set, and for $200, they better be. You get a manual, because we all read those. We get an OSD menu control. We've got some extra props, a battery sticky pad, prop removal tool, some extra screws, stack screws, and a mini screwdriver. And then a whole big baggie of screws. I'm going to imagine that these are the prop screws, because when you change to an actual style prop, these are just T-style props. Once you change to some actual props, you're going to need screws to put them on. So all that comes. You also get a couple extra zip ties and a nice little carrying case. You'd probably peel that sticker off and put something cooler on there, but that's what comes in the kit. The wheelbase on this thing is 125 millimeters, For your motors, you are brushless motors, and you're rocking a 1203 6200 kV motor. You can run it on 2-cell or you can run it on 3-cell. It does come with 3-cell batteries. Those are going to give you the better flight. It's going to be a little bit more jumpy, a little bit more responsive. You're going to need to be smoother with your stick inputs if you're rocking a 3-cell instead of the 2-cell. You do have the Crazy Bee F4 FR Pro flight controller. That is a very good flight controller that's in here. I do like it. I've had it on a micro before and I had zero problems. On the original Larva X, which I did not put out my review on it, I got it too late. I enjoyed it and it had a very similar flight controller. Alright, you have a regular F4 board, you've got the MPU 6000, your power supply is a 2 to 4S battery input, but that is only on your flight controller. If you crash and decided to pull out these components, you could use that flight controller on a 4S rig. Alright, because I'm rocking Crossfire, I'm going to get plenty of range. I can set up LQ or RSSI or both. And after I find a place to put this antenna, I could even put in the new Micro TX Immortal T. I can strap that across the back if I wanted to. They did leave a big chunk of space here where you can put your receiver. And that's kind of going to come into play if you were to use this, which I don't know. I don't see me using this. I feel like this is going to make it look kind of silly because you're going to have your stack and everything up here and then out here on the front on this big piece of unprotected, unguarded, uncovered carbon fiber part of the body deal is going to just have a receiver sitting on it and nothing else. I mean, I don't know. Sure, go ahead, run it like that if you want to. You can make this a whoop and still keep this very cool looking shell, because when the quad's like this with this hard plate here, this hard shell with the camera up front, it does look better. I don't know if the props are going to be in the view. I'll let you know when we take it for a flight. If it is, you're gonna want to use this and get your camera up higher and out of view. Your VTX also has this cute little antenna on it. It is called the Micro UX2. So I'm assuming there was a 1 and this is now 2. And it seems like it's going to be okay. It is a UFL connection and there's not much holding it on. So I would definitely consider some type of strap or zip tie. It did come with zip ties, but I would consider putting those on because a crash or two, this thing's probably going to disappear. And then you'll be forced to buy a better antenna, which might not be such a bad thing. So that right there is the Larva X HD and all of its beauty and all of its specs. Alright pilots, so we are bound and we are ready to jump into the PC. I did notice that after a few minutes of having this plugged in, I was in the middle of binding, but there is a buzzer in here. They hooked us up with a buzzer and the buzzer started beeping saying, hey Drain Man, you left me on. And now she's talking too, which lets you know I've got telemetry, and I'm going to prove that by popping this in.
Telemetry recovered.
And you heard her, but also you'll see my antennas right there. I'm going to go to menu page and I'm going to page over. And when you get to your telemetry screen, I want you to scroll down. Let me get you in here a little bit closer. Scroll down to the Discover New Sensors and give that a little tap and let everything load up. That way you've got all of your telemetry, you've got everything going on. So if you decide to set up any cool switches or any type of telemetry, you'll have that available. Alright pilots, let's get beta flight set up so we can get this thing in the air. The first thing we need to do is just roll through each and everything and make sure it's right where we need it. For our arming, make sure you're at 180. If you don't know why, that's okay. Put it at 180. For your personalization, do it if you want. My receiver's good on Crossfire. Gotta have air mode on. If you don't have air mode on, go ahead and turn it on. This is something that's very important to the flight characteristics, and it's not going to fly or handle well if you don't have that on. Then I'm going to jump into the rates tab, and this is where I will go ahead and set up my rates. I'm not going to touch the PIDs because I haven't flown it yet, but I do want to feel comfortable when I'm flying this, although it is a toothpick and although it is a micro. I still want it to fly what is comfortable for me, so I put my rates on it. If you're new to beta flight and you're not sure what your rates are, you can feel free to use mine. In the receivers tab, I just want to make sure that roll is roll, pitch is pitch, yaw is yaw, and throttle is throttle. Make sure, because you don't want to arm it and then find out that it's not. Over here in the modes tab is where you'll set up your switches. If you don't know how to do that, I actually have a video on it. I will link that down in the video description. Me, I only need to arm. I need a beeper in case I lose it, which we learned about. I didn't know it had a beeper, but I found out while working on it. And then I'm also going to want turtle mode. Turtle mode is if you crash upside down, you can actually flip over if you've set up the switch and if you know how to use it. If you don't know how to use it, that's okay. Put it on the floor. Practice, you'll learn. There's tons of other options here. Feel free to set up as many switches as you want. This flight controller is actually very impressive. For your OSD, scan through, make sure it's got the pertinent information for you that works for you and fits well for you. For me, I'm going to leave it just how it is.
Oh yeah, that was the right switch. Switch warning.
All right. All right, pilots, so that was our hover test, and then I dropped the goggles and I went to get in the air, and this is what I saw. Now, as an FPV YouTuber, it's important that I give you everything that I experienced exactly how I experienced it and let you determine your own decision from there. And this is what I got. So now I've got it on the bench. I'm going to pull it apart. I'm going to check the voltage. I'm going to see if I can figure out why is my video black. Maybe something simple came disconnected or something like that. So I'm going to see what I can figure out. All right, pilots, so here we are. I'm hours into this. Well, I don't know about hours, but I've been in this for a while. I'm not having any luck. I've got OSD, but I've got no video. I'm going to go ahead. I found another quad here that I've reviewed. This is the Twig. It's absolutely phenomenal. Not to plug this quad, but I've got a video on this quad if you're interested in this one, but it's working and operating fine. It does not have a onboard HD camera. It's got a regular nano camera on it. I'm going to pull that off and plug it in and just see if the camera is the problem. If it is, I don't want to rule a very good drone out by a Caddx turtle or baby turtle camera. So if we've got a bad camera, no sense in saying it's a bad drone because we got a bad camera. Alright, so that is now off. Very similar VTX. We're going to pull that out, set this aside, and we're going to put this guy here. Our VTX should still be on the same channel. I'm just going to simply unplug that camera, and let's make sure our pinout is the same. And it is, and we're going to plug that in. Now let's see what we got. You ready, pilots? And right away, I've got perfect video, I've got OSD, I've got everything. So we've clearly got a bad camera. Alright, so I'm going to take this camera out. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to put in a regular camera. Alright, pods, so it did come with a little bit of heat shrink. I went ahead and slid that in, and then I wrapped a zip tie around. I'm going to trim the zip tie, heat the shrink, and then this should be alright. I don't see it getting caught in the props, and if it does, we'll make adjustments as needed. Alright, pilots, we are ready to take this thing for a spin. I do apologize that I won't be able to show you the HD footage. I will reach out and I will try to get one. But what's important is you'll get to see how it flies. You get to see what it looks like, what comes with it. You know, you get an overview and an overlook of the quad before you buy it. And also you get to make your own opinion of it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you enjoy the flight footage. And I'll see you on the next one.